to Jason David Frank.
And Mr. Saban.
That's Tom.
And that's Chris.
Did you know there are 4 eras of the Power Rangers?
We're going to talk about them, so stay tuned.
It's PRNT time.
This is David from Amarillo, Texas. It's PRNT time.
Welcome, Rangers,
To this episode of
PRNT,
your source for all things
Power Rangers.
On this episode, we're going to break down the entire Power Ranger series into 4 eras and give our thoughts on each one.
First things first, let's divide up all the seasons into their respective eras. The first era is called the Zordon era. It goes all the way from the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers all the way to In Space.
After that, the destruction of Zordon leads us into the next era called the post-Zordon era, and includes only 3 seasons: Lost Galaxy, Lightspeed Rescue, and Time Force.
After that, Disney acquired the rights to Power Rangers, and the Disney era was born. It starts with Wild Force and goes all the way to Power Rangers RPM.
After RPM, Saban reacquired the rights to Power Rangers, and this brought us into the era we are currently in now, the Neo-Saban era, which will hopefully end with our brainchild,
Power Rangers Project Omega. Now that we've separated the franchise into its respective eras, let's take some time and break down each era, starting with the Zordon era.
The Zordon era can be defined as teenagers with attitude. All the seasons in this era, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Zeo, Turbo, and In Space, had Rangers that were teenagers. They were still in school. But a quick fact, this is the only era in which all the seasons are intertwined with each other. The story goes from one season to the next, oftentimes with the same actors. For example, Adam, Kat, and Tommy.
I love you, JDF.
Started in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and they stayed all the way to about halfway through Turbo.
The post-Zordon era can be characterized by more adult Rangers. It's more targeted towards us, who were in love with the Zordon era and grew up with it. So the story was a little darker. Again, all the Rangers were adults. Mm-hmm. And to go back to the darker stories, you know, you had the Magna Defender story arc, all the way to the death of Alex. Mm-hmm. This era reminded us that being a Power Ranger comes at a cost.
After that, in contrast, the Disney era kind of went back to the more lighthearted feel. They returned to the campy roots that the Zordon era had established, with the exception of RPM, which, like In Space, was originally supposed to be a series finale for the entire show. So that had a more darker overtone, like In Space did.
Finally, the Neo-Saban era. It can be summarized with just one word: nostalgia. Nostalgia.
Nostalgia.
Nostalgia.
Nostalgia.
Samurai brings us the return of Bulk, along with a revamped version of the classic Power Rangers theme song. Megaforce, we feel, also copied the original premise of teenagers with attitude, along with many other similarities, like a talking head with a robot sidekick. Mm-hmm. And of course, Dino Charge brings the theme of dinosaurs back into the spotlight.
So now that we've given an overview of each era, let's talk popularity. We did some digging on IMDb. We took the ratings from each season, broke them into the eras, and took an overall average for each era with a base score of 10.
Coming in at number 4 is the Neo-Saban era, with an average rating of 6. Now, granted, this is the newest era, so most likely its low ranking comes from the fact that not many fans rated each season. For example, Dino Charge had only been rated about 500 times, while Mighty Morphin Power Rangers have been rated 15,000 times.
Number 3 is the Disney era with an average rating of 6.2. This doesn't really surprise us too much. Not many fans like the Disney era too much, so I got some low ratings. Even though this era did give us great seasons like Ninja Storm, Dino Thunder, SPD, and even RPM.
In at number 2 would be the Zordon era, with an average rating of 6.5. We know, of course, this is an extremely popular area of the series. Mighty Morphin has the most ratings of any series, again with over 15,000 people casting in their vote.
Finally, this brings us to the number 1 era, which is the post-Zordon era, with an average rating of 6.6. We totally agree with this result. The post-Zordon era is our favorite era. We feel the cast and crew did an amazing job keeping the series alive after the legend of Zordon was over.
That's right. Each season had great twists on the series, starting with the new space colony in Lost Galaxy. The Rangers were publicly known in Lightspeed Rescue. And of course, Time Force added the ever-popular concept of time travel. These 3 series helped pass the torch from one era to another without missing a beat.
If you have any of your own thoughts on any of the eras of Power Rangers, if you agree with us, if you disagree with us, post a comment below and we can address it in a future episode.
That's right. Thank you for subscribing, commenting, and sharing this video. If you go here, you can like us on Facebook.
If you go here, you can follow us on Twitter.
And if you go here, you can follow us on Instagram.
And remember, as we sign off, our hope is that the power will always protect you.
Let's power down.
You may be asking yourself, how can I become a part of PRNT history? Well, we have 2 ways for you to do just that.
If you want to be featured at the beginning of an episode, you can send us a video clip of you stating your name, where you're from, and our favorite phrase in the world, it's PRNT time. You send us that clip and we'll tag it to the beginning of an episode.
Our second way is fan art. I draw, create digitally, any art you feel you want to send us so we can feature it on the show. Feel free to pass it along to us either through a message on Facebook, or if it's a bigger item or it's an actual object, you can send it to our P.O. Box, which is at P.O. Box 28, Coleman, Michigan 48618.
We can't wait to see your work.